Hello, this is the Vietnam Social News Update for October 4th, 2025. Date of news coverage, October 4th, 2025. Politics. Vietnam's political scene has this week been shaped by both internal discipline and high-stakes diplomacy. The party's top leadership is pushing for renewed vigor within security forces. At the 8th Congress of the Central Public Security Party Organization, 2025 to 2030, General Secretary To Lam urged the People's Public Security Force to make breakthroughs and deliver new achievements for the party and the nation. Meanwhile, the 12th Army Party Congress emphasized that the People's Army must remain an absolutely loyal and reliable political and combat force, underlining its role as the backbone of the regime's security and legitimacy. At the same time, Vietnam is preparing a rare visit by its top leader to North Korea, expected in October. It would mark the first Vietnamese party chief visit in nearly 2 decades, rekindling historical ties, even as Hanoi seeks to maintain strategic balance. The visit is seen as symbolic, reaffirming ideological solidarity, though trade between the two nations remains minimal. Back home, the sweeping administrative reform continues to ripple across local politics. As of July 1st, the district, Huyen level was officially eliminated, and provinces and communes merged to reduce local units by about half. This reform marks one of the most profound structural changes in decades, intended to reduce overlap and streamline governance. But many observers caution it may also concentrate power at higher levels and weaken local oversight. In the run-up to the 14th National Party Congress, new personnel shifts, especially in provinces like Hue and Hoang Yen, are reshaping leadership cadres to align with restructured jurisdictions. Economy. Now, let's move to the economy. Vietnam's central bank has adopted an assertive stance to counter external headwinds. Officials say they will prioritize growth and are targeting credit expansion of 19 to 20% for 2025, while still maintaining financial stability. Already, total outstanding loans grew by 13.4% through September, exceeding 17,710 trillion, with roughly 78% of that credit channeled into production and business sectors. These efforts come as Vietnam absorbs the costly aftermath of Typhoon Bua Loi. The death toll has risen to 51, with 14 still missing, and estimated damage is now pegged at around 15.9 trillion dong. Over 230,000 homes were damaged or flooded, and nearly 89,000 hectares of agricultural land were destroyed. The central bank has urged commercial banks to restructure or freeze loans for affected firms to support recovery. On the trade front, external pressures are mounting. U.S. tariffs levied in August are estimated to threaten up to 1/5 of Vietnam's exports, and the UNDP warns losses could reach as much as $25 billion if duties persist. Furniture and wood exports, key Vietnamese sectors, are especially exposed. Vietnam is pushing back. The Prime Minister is actively pursuing new trade agreements to diversify beyond the U.S. market, while also calling for increased housing supply to ease property price pressures. Meanwhile, multilateral institutions have revised growth expectations downward. The IMF now sees Vietnam's 2025 GDP growing by 6.5%, and the World Bank has lowered forecasts as high export momentum cools. Society and culture. Next, in society and culture, Typhoon Bua Loi's human and social toll is still unfolding. Many communities remain cut off by landslides and flooded roads. Rescue teams and local volunteers are racing to restore power, reopen crossings, and deliver emergency relief. For numerous families, displacement continues, and losses of homes, crops, and livelihoods are immense. The scale of destruction is testing Vietnam's disaster resilience systems and highlighting vulnerabilities in its climate-sensitive regions. Culturally, adaptation is underway. With the Mid-Autumn Festival approaching, October 6th, Border Guard units have begun distributing lanterns and gifts to children in flood-affected areas, trying to preserve festive spirit amid disruption. Meanwhile, traditional performances and community arts are being scaled down or relocated indoors in some localities where outdoor venues remain unsafe. On a digital front, Vietnam's population continues to engage actively in online and fintech ecosystems despite regulatory uncertainties. The growth of crypto assets and digital remittances signals persistent demand for innovation in payment systems and financial inclusion, though authorities face the challenge of balancing openness with oversight. International relations. Finally, in international relations, Vietnam's engagement abroad emphasizes both solidarity and strategic diversification. Today, Esteban Lazo Hernandez, President of the National Assembly of Cuba and head of the Cuban delegation, visited Hung Yen Province. He reaffirmed the special friendship between the two nations, recalling decades of mutual support, and called for expanded collaboration on agriculture, high-tech processing, education, and local governance. The timing underscores Hanoi's interest in cultivating strong ties beyond its immediate neighborhood. At the same time, trade diplomacy is intensifying on multiple fronts. The European Union is urging Vietnam to dismantle barriers facing EU origin goods, pointing to persistent trade imbalances. Hanoi plans to raise issues such as rice exports, tariffs on carbon-intensive goods, and regulatory due diligence in upcoming talks. Meanwhile, Vietnam's leadership is pressing ahead with efforts to build an international financial center to integrate more deeply into global capital flows and strengthen economic sovereignty. In its broader foreign policy, Vietnam continues to practice bamboo diplomacy, rooted resilience with flexible outreach. The visit to North Korea is symbolically aligned with traditional alliances, yet Vietnam's push for new trade partners and investment sources reflects its drive to hedge reliance on any one bloc. This balancing act between ideology and pragmatism remains central in Vietnam's rising role across Asia and beyond. Thank you for listening to the Vietnam Social News Update. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And see you again tomorrow. This news summary is based on publicly available reports and rewritten uniquely for Vietnam's social news. VietnamNews.com is the official web address of Vietnam's social news. We are an independent platform, not affiliated with Vietnam News Agency or any government-owned media outlet.